Okay, and our example for cotangent here. So we saw the regular graph starts with an asymptote, and that's just going to be important as we move left or right. That's going to be important to say, all right, once I find where I move left or right, that's where I'm going to draw my asymptote. It's also going to be important when we start. Remember when we did tangent? So for example, this tangent, I'll use this one, this tangent here, we had a period change. Our period was 2 pi. When we started with 0, we had to go half the period length because 0 lands halfway between our asymptotes. So if I want to get my asymptotes, I went half a period to the left, half a period to the right to write down my asymptotes. And then between my next asymptotes would just be a full period length. Now, that's going to change when we look at cotangent. It's going to be the same idea, but it's going to change just a little bit. What do these values do for us? 2, we know is going to do with the amplitude. And what's that going to change? It's really going to just change your 1s and negative 1s. Your 1s will go to 2, your negative 1s will go to negative 2. That's all that's going to change in these graphs. Just like sine, cosine, just like tangent. Those are the only points that are going to change. And we see here we also get a period change. How does my period change? I take my normal period length for cotangent is pi, and I'm divided by the number multiplied by x. And the number multiplied by x is 1/3. So the entire length of my period is 3 pi. So again, that means the length between my asymptotes will be 3 pi. I do not move left or right. What does cotangent start with? An asymptote. So since I do not move left or right, this is going to start with an asymptote. I need to make my axis. I got 1 and 2. I've got -1, -2. Since I need to go 3 pi, so from this first asymptote to get my next one, I would go 3 pi to the left and to the right. So I think I'll go pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. I'll do the same thing over here. So just changing those a little bit to make this fit. So the period length falls between our asymptotes. So my period is 3 pi. So I need to go 3 pi to get my next asymptote to the right. I need to go 3 pi to get my asymptote to the left. And now we're just going to fall between here. You're good to just use your halfway points. So my 0 will fall halfway between here. Which would be right in the middle. I am decreasing through here. This does not flip, so I decrease. Again, I'm going to go halfway between these two, which will be right here. And that's fine to eyeball right now. My normal would go to 1, but because we have an amplitude of 2, I'll be up here. Same thing, I'll eyeball halfway. And because I would normally go to -1, but with an amplitude of 2, I will go to -2. And we go to that asymptote. That's a bad graph. Let's do that again. I can't get a good bend in there. Oh my gosh. Alright, that's going to have to be good enough. I'm running out of room. Halfway between is going to be our 0. Halfway to the left and to the right is going to be my 1s and -1s. I have to go up to 2. This decreases throughout. That one was better. And there we go. There's 2 periods worth, period length of 3 pi with an amplitude of 2.